first say this. We're not apologizing, nor none of us should apologize for something that we are not a part of. Now, dealing with this Asian pandemic type of racist attacks on the Asian people, the Asian community, etc., etc. Now, I hope you guys are awakened, or it's time for you to awake to see this propaganda that the media and the powers to be, which I believe are the same people who are, when all these police protests was going on, there was an election occurring. So we want to aim this at them, being that they are the progenitors of this propaganda, that all of a sudden Asians are being attacked. And now they have this one suspect, one of their foot soldiers, one of their agents, who they portray as being black. Now you see what they're doing. And this is why it's time for us to separate ourselves from among other races of black faces who are not one of us. Seemingly that they are bringing these people in to pull off these stunts, make the news media, and to pull this propaganda and to paint this picture that black people, once again, they're smearing the image, pointing at us like we are the cause of so much chaos, when it's them behind everything. Orchestrated, plotted, planned out, etc. And black people, when you see Asians, what do you do? How do you react? Is there or has there ever been animosity towards these people? So now, when you get that enlightened in you, you apply it to the rhetoric that you're seeing, or what they are trying to propagate, that black people are the cause of this attacks on Asian people, when in fact that they have hired their agents, their foot soldiers, to pull off stunts just to put it on media, just to get it on camera so they can place it on the world stage to start a conflict. So there would be no apology. Don't apologize for other people who are not one of us, who are doing these things. Asians, you need to be mad at those who are propagating this propaganda, who are inflicting you with the idea that black people are your enemy. Black people have enemies. We don't become people's enemy. Go check our resume. Yet we'll be an enemy to ourselves. But that's based on survival, or, well, we can just add that, just saying survival in general. Every element you can combine into it is survival. So we don't have these quarrels against Asian people to want to go out and attack them. Like, who does that? Through all the, let me explain something to you all, and I want you to think about this. And if you're Asian, thank you for tuning in. Now, what have Asians throughout our history have done to us? Like, if we are attacking Asian people, we should be attacking white people. Real talk. Let me say that again. You know our history here. You know the confrontation that we continue to have from this day. If we're gonna attack Asians, wouldn't we attack white people first? Like, who is attacking these people that they are trying to build a case against the black population? This is why we have to separate ourselves from these Nigerians, those who are Africans, yet we are displayed as African American, which we are not the same people. So we have to come to this conclusion. We need to bring this out as well and get out of your feelings, because they're using this image of African to connect us and bring certain Africans in to start doing certain things. Like I said in my last video, like, they're taking our identity and now they're using it to make war with other nations who we have never had these situations before. So now, why all of a sudden people with black faces are making these attempts to do such thing? We don't do that. And if we are to attack Asians, why haven't we attacked whites? Why haven't we took our anger out on them when we're being brutalized and killed by white supremacist police officers, law enforcement? Wouldn't we beat them up? What have you done to us that we have conflicted to go and out to beat you up? It's not in our demeanor. So what you're seeing, people, is a party at work. It is a party at work doing what they've always done. Divide, conquer, cause chaos, cause confusion, cause quarrels. And yet, the white race plays the backfield as though they are the humblest people on the planet. But yet, it's these same people who are behind the strings of a lot of events and paying foot soldiers to do a work. Just like they have agents to make their politicians sound black or look black or wear Converse shoes or say these things about these candidates to mislead us into believing that they are on our side. You have people paid who are part of those parties to do just that. You may have some radio hosts. You might have people like, what's his name? What that nigga name is? The dude, was it Michael Bazin? So when you, or let's even say the Roots, and I'm still 3 years later, 4 years later, I'm still looking at them narrow. For, was it black? Was it Roots or Your Black World? I think it was Your Black World. I'm still looking at him narrow for even doing a dedication, a dedication or whatever you want to call it when Senior George Bush passed. They did it in remembrance of. So a lot of these people that you're listening to who are talking about your Democratic Party and this guy here's the bad guy, you guys need to, these all are agents. They are on the payroll. When you look between the lines, and I'm telling you, this is what it is. There are paid agents, they're on the payroll. So now, this thing is huge. This thing is big. You're seeing the hands of people orchestrating and manipulating and doing these things to mislead you into believing for whatever they're trying to usher in for the Asians. And let's just say hypothetically that they also talk about giving reparations to the Asians. And if you do that, if they do that, you already know what it is. That all this money that's been brought up and distinguishing among the groups of people, as I stated before, it is to button up their bootstraps for them so they can come up. But yet they'll tell us that we need to button up our bootstraps and pull them up and all this other crazy stuff. But yet all this money that you're hearing about, them giving money to here and there, this is what they're doing. They're booting up their bootstraps for them by giving them the funds and these organizations and whatever it may be the case. This is how they coming up over us. But yet they're denying us. You have people that look like us denying us and say that we don't need reparations. We don't need to be repaired. In other words, we don't need to be repaired. This is real stuff, man. I'm seeing this like I'm looking at this box sitting across my room. It is that easy for me to see what it is. And a lot of you are just caught up in your feelings and your thoughts. Put all that aside. Read between the lines. What would you do? How would you think? How are you to look at this? And then conclude this is what's occurring. Because after all these decades, and nobody never heard about Asian people being brutally attacked. And even after this, that's just like the same thing with when the Twin Towers, when that attack had happened. Remember that? Did you see any Muslims being attacked? And it's just so easy. It's just easy as 1, 2, 3 to just put out there and let's make this obvious. What if that was the case, and instead of white America, who was pissed off, you see them brutally attack Muslims? What if you just happen to see black people attacking Muslims? Like, how would that look to you? That would be out of the ordinary. That's like, what? So we looking at this in the same demeanor, seeing that they have this black man supposedly who was attacking Asians or whatever. It seemed like he's the only guy that I saw so far. But yet we've been hearing stories here and there. But where are your suspects? Oh, we need rights too. We need rights to protect us. Remember what I told you all in my other videos. If you've been listening for some time, how you have all these congressional caucus people. You have your black congressional caucus. You have your Latino congressional caucus. You have your Asian congressional caucus. You have your Japanese congressional. You have all these caucuses. But yet, they're there to help their own groups of people. Now we need laws to protect Asians. So that means the police. I won't be surprised if you have laws to protect the Muslim people. Those who have, with the situation what happened a long time ago. I won't be surprised. And this is what they do. So let's not be tricked. When you look at the media from now on, you got to look at it and say, the fuck they lying about now? And if you watch it, observe it. But you first have to identify them as being deceivers and liars. Therefore, so that you will take note and you'll decide to look into these things before you accept what you're hearing from them. And then they show some black guy beating up Asian. Like, who does that? Who does that? We the niggas who always bought karate movies and all this other stuff, war day stuff, and we get stuff from there. Niggas beating up Chinese people for. We don't do that. And another thing, when you hear about some of these crimes that they try to put or pin on us because the people look like us, observe the activity of what they've done. Because what we do, we'll know that it's not us. And that's just by the works. So they can say what they want to say. We don't do that because we already know what's up and we know better. We know better to know not to do stupid shit like that. Because that's not even in our demeanor to do stuff like that. And that's what I'm saying. If that was the case, we'll be beating white people up first. Like, what the hell Asians done? You get my point. So that's just to show you that it's all BS. Something that they're trying to push, something that they're doing. But at the end of the day, it's going to jam us up because we too much into this identity crisis. These Africans or Nigeria, these people from up there, they're not the same people as us. Period. They don't have the same spirit that we have, meaning they don't have the same demeanor. We're not connected to them like that. So that's all I wanted to say. I mean to take you guys time though, but watch out, one, for paid agents who are on YouTube, even those with big names, even such as DL, who I remember bashing him for going seeing Trump and all this other stuff. And like, it's just certain things that you need to observe and say, I wouldn't do that. Because if you wouldn't do that, why are they doing that? So it has to be a bigger picture involved. It has to be more than what meets the perception of what we're seeing. I don't know if I said that right, but I be trying to play with these words. But I mean, you guys need to watch these people. Know that they're liars and deceivers. Anything that they say, you don't believe it. You need to have a question mark every time they speak about it, because they can be doing some trickery in their speeches that you probably not even aware that they're doing. So it's very important for us to observe these things And like, why are we beating up? And now you have this whole campaign going on for Asians now. Who paid for that movement all of a sudden? Why hasn't what's going out when the COVID, when people was dying and all this other stuff? Why didn't you hear about that stuff? So now all of a sudden you have a Democratic president in, and he's talking about doing deals with China, and all of a sudden we see all this advertisement about Asians being attacked and all this other stuff. So it's something going on. And also I wanted to clarify in this video. Thank you for tuning in. Holla.